Hello everyone, it's always a pleasure to welcome you again to the House News. In this episode, we present you the latest information coming from the House of Representatives of Indonesia. So now let's have a look at our headlines for today. The Indonesia-Russia Parliamentary Friendship Group received a visit from the Russian ambassador to Indonesia. The meeting focused on strengthening mutual cooperation between the two countries. The green economy is an economic model that supports sustainable development goals. It is one of the 6 strategies for Indonesia's economic transformations to achieve the visions of 2045 Golden Indonesia Vision. During a working meeting with the Ministry of Trade, Commission 6 of the House has agreed to ratify the trade agreement between Indonesia and the Islamic Republic of Iran. Commission 6 of the House encourages state-owned enterprises or BUMN to become global leaders. This transformation aims to enable BUMN to help MSME products enter international markets. Pope Francis, leader of the Catholic Church, will receive a state welcome from President Joko Widodo at Jakarta State Palace during his Indonesia's visit. Indonesia and Russia have maintained a strong bilateral relationship characterized by mutual respect and shared benefits. This partnership reflects the commitment to working together in various areas and also on global issues. After receiving an official visit from the Russian ambassador to Indonesia, member of the Indonesia-Russia Parliamentary Friendship Group Dipo Nusantara emphasized the importance of cooperation, especially in the legal sectors. Indonesia and Russia have ratified the agreement on mutual legal assistance in criminal matters as stated in Law No. 5 of 2021. Furthermore, Dipo hoped the agreement between the two countries will strengthen cooperation on matters of mutual interest following international legal principles and norms.
Kami menekankan peningkatan kerjasama di antara kedua negara, khususnya Indonesia, yang telah meratifikasi perjanjian antara Indonesia dengan Rusia tentang bantuan hukum timbal balik dalam masalah pidana sebagaimana tertuang dalam Undang-Undang Nomor 5 Tahun 2021 tentang pengesahan perjanjian antara Republik Indonesia dengan Federasi Rusia tentang bantuan hukum timbal balik dalam masalah pidana. Kami berharap kerjasama yang terbangun dapat dilaksanakan secara berkesinambungan.
Diplomatic relations between Indonesia and Russia have been established since 1950. The two countries have developed cooperation in various sectors: economic, political, social, and cultural aspects. Dipo Nusantara plans to have more partnership which give benefit for both parties. Mario and Teddy, TVA Parliament Report. BKSAP of the House held a lunch meeting with the German organization FES. The meeting covered various topics including research collaborations, energy transition, climate change, the green economy, and green industry. Chairperson of BKSAP of the House Fadlizon stated, collaboration with global organizations is necessary to increase human resource capabilities and address global warming issues affecting natural resources. By implementing the green economy model, the Parliament will support the government in improving social welfare and equality while reducing environmental damage risk.
Komitmen kita untuk green economy ini sangat penting, apalagi kita mempunyai komitmen untuk mencapai 2060 ya, untuk zero emission. Tentu harus diproses dari sekarang. Nah, salah satunya adalah dengan kebijakan-kebijakan ekonomi hijau, green economy, green growth, ya, dan juga penghargaan kita kepada lingkungan hidup dan juga kepada upaya-upaya mengurangi fossil fuel.
In addition, Fadlizon hoped the cooperation with Friedrich Ebert Stiftung or FES will continue involving other global organizations. This partnership is expected to support global welfare in various areas and address social disparities. Nurbani, TVA Parliament reports. Commission 6 of the House supports the proposed trade cooperations with the Islamic Republic of Iran. The House reminds the government to prioritize the principle of a free and active foreign policy. Vice Chairperson of Commission 6 of the House, Muhammad Hekal, urged the government to consider geopolitical aspect in the trade agreement with Iran to prevent any negative impact on existing partnership with other nations. Muhammad Hekal said it is important for Indonesia to engage in cooperation with various countries without being involved in specific geopolitical blocs.
Menyerahkan ini mekanismenya melalui peraturan presiden sehingga Pak Menteri bisa menyelesaikan one of the milestone agreement yang kita harapkan bisa juga memperluas market kita ke Timur Tengah, ke negara-negara yang non-tradisional seperti Iran. Dan tapi kan kita tentu harus perhatikan mengenai geopolitik. Kita sama-sama tahu Iran ini juga bukan negara yang tanpa kontroversi. Nah, tentu kita harapkan kepada Pak Menteri dalam melaksanakan perjanjian ini setelah diperpreskan supaya selalu berhati-hati.
Likewise, member of Commission 6 of the House, Intan Fauzi, also supported the proposed trade cooperation with the Islamic Republic of Iran. This plain trade cooperation will be implemented with the issuance of a presidential regulations.
Dan tadi sudah disepakati antara DPR dan pemerintah dalam hal ini Komisi 6 dengan Pak Mendak bahwa ini akan dilaksanakan dengan Perpres. Karena kita tahu ini sudah ditandatangani antara Menteri Perdagangan Pak Zulkifli Hasan dengan Menteri Perdagangan Iran yang disaksikan oleh Presiden Iran dan Presiden Indonesia di Istana Bogor.
Oki and Yoga, TVR Parliament Report. Core tax administration system will be implemented by the end of 2024. Stay tuned for more updates right here on Leon House News. Commission 6 of the House urges state-owned bank associations to support MSMEs to access international markets. It is recorded MSMEs have been the backbone of the national economy during the COVID-19 pandemic. Member of Commission 6 of the House, Putu Supatma Rudana, mentioned state-owned enterprises or BUMN should be the national agent of development while also expanding into the international market. BUMN is expected to take the lead in exporting domestic products to international markets or other countries by collaborating with MSMEs. This collaboration will help MSMEs' products and expertise, strengthening the presence of domestic goods on the global stage.
Bagaimana mendorong UMKM kita go global. Bagaimana mungkin perbankan kita juga menguasai negara lain dalam arti pengelolaan keuangannya. Nah, makanya kami juga sampaikan dalam forum ini, literasi dan penetrasi BUMN khususnya Himbara itu sangat penting untuk bisa menembus pasar-pasar yang non-tradisional. Memang di Indonesia kita sudah jago, tapi kita harus mampu masuk ke berbagai market yang baru untuk menggandeng semua produk kita. BUMN bisa menggandeng UMKM, usaha kecil, atau usaha menengah kita yang bisa masuk ke sana. Kita juga menekankan pentingnya literasi keuangan, literasi bagaimana komposisi pengelolaan keuangan bagi khususnya UMKM. Karena UMKM ini kan memberikan kontribusi lebih dari 60% dari GDP kita.
Furthermore, Putu Supatma emphasized in addition to business development for MSMEs, State-Owned Bank Association or Himbara needs to provide financial management literacy to anticipate and manage potential credit issues. By providing training and resources on financial literacy, this bank can empower MSMEs to handle their finances, avoid bad credit situations, and improve their overall financial stability. From Bali, Dodi Muharam, TVR Parliament reports. Commission 11 of the House urges the government to increase public awareness campaigns regarding the government's policy of the core tax administration system, which is scheduled to be implemented by the end of 2024. Member of Commission 11 of the House Andreas Edi Susatyo believes the core tax system has the potential to improve the efficiency of tax administrations and make business operations more manageable. This new tax system is projected to increase state revenue by intensifying and expanding taxation efforts.
Tax system ini kan program yang sudah berjalan sejak beberapa tahun yang lalu. Jadi ini adalah aplikasi Cortex System yang mulai diimplementasikan pada akhir tahun ini. Kita sebenarnya mengharapkan bahwa salah satu kunci keberhasilannya pada sosialisasi kepada para wajib pajak. Ini yang juga mungkin perlu menjadi perhatian. Salah satu keluhan adalah kemudahan di dalam melakukan administrasi perpajakan kita. Jadi harapan kita adalah ini bisa meningkatkan kemudahan berbisnis bagi para pelaku usaha.
The government has announced the core tax system is part of a tax reform initiative designed to modernize and automate tax offices. It aims to make the tax process more efficient and accurate while also helping taxpayers meet their obligations more easily. Helmi Darmawan, TVA Parlemen reports. The government has introduced health guidelines for processed food and school snacks. Commission 9 of the House has proposed the government to collaborate with schools to regulate food and beverage vendors in school areas. Member of Commission 9 of the House, Linda Megawati, agreed with the central government policy to monitor school snacks through the health regulations. This will help prevent and reduce the risk of excess consumptions of sugar, salt, and fat among school children. Therefore, Linda demands Food and Drug Supervisory Agency or BPOM and schools to work together to supervise all snacks distributed in schools. BPOM and schools should also actively provide campaign on educations to food and beverage vendors around schools.
Pihak sekolah mendatangkan BPOM minimal seminggu sekali lah untuk mengecek. Ya enggak, inspeksi seminggu sekali. Atau kalau misalkan ada tukang dagang yang menjual makanan yang tidak bisa diserap oleh tubuh atau kadarnya yang berlebihan, ya minimalnya kita dikasih informasi bahwa, atau kita tanya apa sih yang dimasukkan, zat apa makanan yang dimasukkan ke makanan ini, karena yang kita deteksi dari BPOM ini ternyata terdapat ABCD. Nah, dikasih peringatan, dikasih informasi. Yang kedua, kalau seperti itu aja ya mohon ditindaklanjuti atau ditindak tegas oleh pihak sekolah setempat.
Additionally, Linda Megawati added, if unhealthy food and beverages are distributed freely around schools and are easily purchased by students, it will affect the health and development of students. Bondan Imana, TVA Parlemen reports. We still have more interesting information, and this time coming from Indonesia new passport design. Stay tuned for more updates only on House News. Pope Francis is scheduled to visit Indonesia as part of his visit to Asia and Oceania. This visit, focusing on interreligious dialogue, has generated excitement in Indonesia as the world's largest Muslim majority country. The visit of Pope Francis to Indonesia holds significant importance to the Indonesian people, not only for Catholics, but also for all religious communities. This visit is also expected to strengthen the message of tolerance, unity, and world peace. Pope Francis' visit to Indonesia was scheduled in 2020. However, the visit was postponed due to the COVID-19 pandemic. The Pope will arrive in Indonesia on September 3, 2024. He will be treated as a state guest and as the leader of the Catholics. He'll preside over an interfaith meeting at the Istiqlal Mosque, expected to be attended by leaders of the 6 religions in Indonesia. Francis is also expected to walk through a tunnel called the Tunnel of Friendship, connecting the Grand Mosque to the cathedral. Pope Francis will also sign a historic document at the Istiqlal Mosque addressing humanitarian, tolerance, and environmental issues. The pontiff is planned to conduct a Grand Mass at the Gelora Bung Karno Sports Complex, where over 70,000 Catholics from all over the country will attend the highly anticipated religious service. The 87-year-old pontiff has been using a wheelchair in recent years due to a string of health problems, from strained knee ligaments to bronchitis. Indonesia will be the first country to be visited by Pope Francis during his Southeast Asian tour in September 2024. After Indonesia, the Pope is scheduled to visit Papua New Guinea, Timor-Leste, and Singapore. Indonesia redesigned and recolored its passport with the new versions set to be issued on the 80th independence anniversary. The Indonesian passport has been updated, featuring a red cover and a refreshed design. Indonesia's Directorate General of Immigration recently just launched a new passport design. The new passport features a red and white color scheme representing the national flag, replacing the previous greenish-blue cover. The new colors reflect Indonesia's identity and independence. The redesign and recoloring of Indonesian passport aim to inspire movement and progress. The redesigned passport also incorporates 33 traditional Indonesian fabric motifs on each page, representing the country's diverse culture, ethnicity, race, class, and lifestyle. The design of the passport sheet uses a typical fabric motif from each region in Indonesia, and the motif will change shape when viewed with the UV light. The new design is more than just a change in the cover color. Security enhancements were a primary focus, with the new design applying to International Civil Aviation Organization standards. The updated features make the passport more resistant to forgery. The new passport incorporates a combination of advanced security features, including a heat resistance, flexible cover that protects the embedded chip. The passport pages are equipped with security elements sensitive to chemicals. The integrations of these new security materials and printing technologies ensures that the passport is secure for international travel and facilitates easier authentication processes. Even though launched on August 17, 2024, the new passport will not be available until August 17, 2025. This delay allows for the completion of existing passport stocks and necessary preparations for the new design's implementations, starting from the printing process to policies and distribution and system preparation. Thailand is gearing up to connect Bangkok to Beijing by train, marking a significant expansion of its railway network. The trial focused on the route from Bangkok to Vientiane, Laos capital. This new link promises improved transportations between Thailand, Laos, and China. The new service aims to integrate Thailand with the existing Lao-China rail network, a key component of China's ambitious Belt and Road Initiative. With the inaugurations of the Thailand-Laos rail link, trains from Bangkok will now be able to make stops in Vientiane and Kunming, southern China. From Kunming, travelers can continue their journey on a semi-high-speed service to Beijing. Given the mountainous terrain and the distance involved, the approximately 2,000-mile journey will take nearly a full day compared to about 5 hours by non-stop flight. The high-speed train currently operating between China and Laos has already reduced the transportation time for Thai goods to Kunming from 2 days to just 15 hours. This new rail link will enhance transportation connectivity between Thailand, Laos, and China, promoting economic and tourism ties across the region. Improving rail connectivity with China, Thailand's primary trade partner, is seen as a strategic move to boost its economic growth. Last year, Thailand exported almost $32 billion worth of goods to China, including fruit and rubber products. In contrast, imports from China total $65 billion, dominated by electric equipment and machinery. The countries are also strengthening tourism ties, having removed tourist visa requirements. Chinese tourists can now stay in Thailand for up to 60 days, while Thai tourists can stay in China for 30 days. Plans are in place to complete a high-speed rail system connecting Thailand to China through Laos by 2028. The development expected to enhance tourism and trade between the nations. And that information wraps up our house news for today. I'm Reni Minariu and all the crew. Thank you for joining in. We'll see you again next time.